Hello there, welcome to Yoga with Anja and welcome to Yoga During Pregnancy. Today's video, if you've chosen to practice this, I guess you can relate to a bit of hip and leg stiffness during pregnancy. Maybe you're walking a lot and you need to make sure that you're stretching alongside it. Or I think just in general, when we are sleeping or we are now moving our bodies differently, these two areas can get a little bit tight and we want to make sure we stay nice and flexible. Even more so than ever before, really make sure that you listen to your own body. Even though if I show a posture and you don't really feel like practicing it today, then please just leave it out for now. Have a little something to drink or take a breath. And yeah, just make sure it feels really, really good for you. And I hope that this will be nourishing and that you feel well stretched afterwards. Thank you so much for choosing this video, and I will see you shortly on your mats. So welcome. We begin our practice today in Balasana, in child's pose. Our first hip opener for this practice. So come onto your mat, bring your big toes together and just have a little bit of a feel for how far you want to widen your knees apart. The further they go, the more your hips will feel it, but just really try to find a nice balance between a good stretch but not too much to begin our yoga practice with. And then start to walk your hands all the way forward. And depending on the size of your belly, you might want to pause with your elbows on the ground, your forearms on the ground, and your head just relaxed towards the earth. You could also try stretching your arms all the way forward and then relax the forehead down towards the mat. This is really a preferential thing, so whatever feels nice for you. Another alternative is fists underneath your forehead. So have a little bit of a play with what feels good for you. And then as you arrive in your yoga practice today, allow your eyes to soften and completely draw your gaze inward. So take a moment to bring your awareness back toward yourself, back toward your baby or your bump. And just take a moment to soften your belly, to soften your shoulders and the forehead. Allow the hips to feel nice and heavy. And allow them to sink down towards your heels. And as you're here for already a moment, you might be able to walk your elbows or your hands further forward, finding a longer stretch or more of a stretch in your back. So really try to feel your hips grounding down towards those heels. And then notice this length you're creating in your lower back, all the way up into the crown of your head. And feel your hips softening, the gentle stretch in your inner thighs. Imagine or see if you can relax into this sensation. And then start to deepen your breath. So take deeper inhales. Imagine you're breathing beyond your bump all the way into your hips as you inhale. And as you exhale, soften and relax. Let's take 4 more of these rounds. Inhaling through the nostrils. Draw the breath all the way down into your belly. Down into your hips. Exhale to relax. And take 3 more of those rounds now. With every inhale, feel your spine lengthening. Maybe your arms reaching a little bit further forward. Hips stay heavy. Exhale to release. Couple more breath cycles here. And for your last breath here, inhale, feel the body expanding and lifting. Exhale, just letting go for a moment. Very, very nice. And then gently press your palms down and walk your hands just slightly further in toward you. So you're still quite low down towards the ground. And then start to rock your hips side to side. And start to find a bit of a sway through the rib cage, your torso. And keep your head nice and neutral, in line with your spine. So you're looking down. And just this very, very soft motion that is rocking your baby and that is allowing the hip stretch to move into different areas. Keep your breath nice and deep, so really supporting all those stretches we're going to do today, all those movements with your breath. Very nice, and then walk your hands even further in toward you and then all the way over to the left side. We're not going too far as we don't want to twist the belly too much. Left hand is bent, left elbow as well, and then stretch your right arm forward and slightly towards that left side. Relax the forehead towards the ground. Again, you might soften it completely or keep it lifted. Again, be aware of your bump. You don't want to compress anything. And as you start to open through this right side body, feel the hip pressing back towards the right heel, and at the same time, feel your right arm lengthening away from the body. Chin tucks towards the chest, your gaze is toward your baby. Take another breath here, inhale. Shoulder relaxes, exhale. Beautiful work. And then for the other side, slowly walk your hands through center. Keep your right elbow bent toward your body and then stretch your left arm. And it isn't even about how far you're going to the right side, it's more extending in that left side body now. So the hip is shifting to the left heel. Fingertips are nice and open. Palm is nice and open. And just breathe, breathe, breathe here. Inhale, feel the body rising, side body stretching. Exhale to release. Beautiful, once more, inhale. And then press into your big toes, so you're having a bit of awareness through the feet as you bring the body all the way to center. And as we were here for quite a while, take it slow to lift all the way up into tabletop, coming onto your hands and knees. Bring your knees underneath your hips, maybe slightly wider, palms underneath your shoulders, and keep your toes untucked, so press the tops of your feet down. And then just gently sway the hips left and right. And then start to make that sway a little bit bigger, so the hip goes to the right, gaze towards your left shoulder. So you're moving into a bit of a C shape with the body. Just start to take that into your own rhythm, your own breath. Inhaling center, exhaling. And now next time you drop the hips more to the right, lift your left knee so you can bounce your hips a bit more to the right and look towards the left foot. Keep pressing the tops of your feet down. Inhaling through center, and then again we're lifting the leg to create space for the bump as the hip is shifting more to the other side. Take one more on each side and hopefully feel that in your outer hip, your outer leg. Very, very nice, beautiful work. And then as you come back to center, tuck your toes under and have a look that you're really spreading your toes nice and wide on your mat. Palms come a little bit further forward. Bend your elbows, making sure you're not hyperextending, and then start to draw a circle with your hips, going one way. And really focus again, not on the movement itself, rather keeping it nice and relaxed here. Your bump is relaxed. Imagine this is a nice looking after your baby. Something that feels good for you and for baby. Quite meditative. So if you can, start to close your eyes now. And this circular movement, so really visualize your body dropping into that flow of breath and movement. You can take that into a figure of 8 as well. And if you're confused by what is a figure of 8 here with the hips, then just imagine drawing 8. Drawing an 8. Doesn't matter in which direction. And maybe that's not for you today. Maybe it's circling. Press your fingertips down, making sure your palms can stay nice and relaxed. Your wrists. And keep that connection with your toes. So feeling the stretch all the way into the soles of your feet. And then change the direction of your movement. And while you're moving, notice that softness you're creating in the hips is moving into your entire body. Shoulders, head. Again, if you can, keep your eyes closed. Maybe figure of 8, or you do a slightly different motion to me. A couple more breaths here. Imagine rocking the baby or the bump. Maybe there's several. Beautiful work. And then just come back to a still moment. Keep your toes curled under and lift your body to shake out your wrists for a moment. And really shake them out here. Inhaling once more. Exhaling. Very nice. And then reach your right hand towards the side of your leg. Inhale, left arm comes out. And then all the way up and overhead. Feeling the stretch from the fingertips all the way down into your left hip. Notice if your tailbone is tucked under or if you're sticking your bottom out quite a bit here. Keep the head relaxed and soft. Very nice. And then inhale back to center and exhale to the left. Just very gently move the hip towards the right side. Other than this, you can keep them very neutral, the hips here. Head is relaxed, breath is deep. Very nice. Once more, inhale, stretch and lengthen into your fingertips. And then exhale, come back to center. Move back into tabletop. And then if you're okay with downward facing dog, otherwise you can stay as you are here, maybe creating more hip circles. If downward facing dog is good for you today, take your hands, one hand width further forward, curl your toes under, and then as you lift up, create even more space between your feet. So your feet are mat width apart, at least further than hip width apart. And then first movement for your legs here. Start to stretch one leg out, bend the other knee towards the chest. And then start to walk your downward facing dog out here on the spot. And while you do that, you're creating strength in your arms. So you're pressing all 10 fingers down. Arms are long, your hips are lifting. If it feels good, maybe exhale through the mouth, releasing a bit of heat. And then just pause for a moment and bend your knees, at least a little bit, so you can elevate your hips more. Notice if you can drop the heels a bit closer to the mat and send your gaze toward your upper thighs. One more breath. Inhale, find length in the body, stretch. Very, very nice. And then exhale, soften the knees all the way back down towards the mat. And then we're going to step the left foot forward. Left foot to the front of your mat. Feet are hip width apart. Untuck your back toes. And then for your lunge, just gently ground your hands onto the hips. Open up through the chest so you have a nice long upper body. Inhale here. And then as you move forward into your hips, exhale. We do that a few more times. So you're inhaling to come out and exhale to move forward. And as you do that, and you will hear this in probably every video I'm doing, you want to press your feet down so you keep some muscular engagement, so it's not just dropping into the body. Your feet are pressing to the earth, and then your hips actually have a little bit of engagement as well. And this stretch is for your right hip flexor mainly here. So do that 2 more times. Inhale, exhale. And then with your next out breath, come to stay. And again, you don't want to just sink down. So there is a difference between just sinking, again I say dumping the weight, or keeping a little bit lifted. So you're working on muscular energy. And it's almost as if you imagine you're squeezing both knees towards the midline. You're not actually moving them, but you're squeezing them in. Keep the belly soft, and then inhale, reach your arms all the way forward and up. And you're as low or as lifted in your lunge as it feels good for you. Take another in breath to open, open, open. And an out breath. If you have bolsters or pillows or block, take them now underneath your palms and start to extend your left leg for half splits. Usually when we go back, the hips move more to the right. Try to open up your hips again and place that block anywhere that is comfortable and again doesn't feel compressed for your belly. Flex the toes right towards you. You can have your leg more bent or straight. And then visualize that your hips are reaching back and at the same time the crown of your head is reaching towards the top of your mat. And take a moment to breathe here. Breathe into this hamstring stretch. And now, still staying where you are, point the toes down. So the big toe is really pointing forward. Even here you want to keep the knee a little bit bent. If your hips are swaying, try to bring them back to center. And then flex your toes once more. Keep your right hand underneath your shoulder. You can lift the block or the cushions even higher because again we don't want to twist too far. But to change the stretch in the leg slightly, now reach your left arm, not right arm, out and up. Keep looking down. Notice the flexion through the foot. Maybe you now feel the stretch more in your outer leg here. Inhaling to reach and lengthen. Very, very nice. And then as you breathe out, release both hands down and then slowly start to extend that left leg back. And we're going to move back into tabletop. So you can extend your left leg back and then gently start to rock forwards and back a few times. You can do a bit of a circular motion again. Very nice. And then from here, roll onto, make sure you have enough space, roll onto the outer edge of your left leg. Slightly point the right toes away from the mat, so onto the earth. And then for a side plank variation, start to lift your body. You want to make sure that you feel nice and balanced. And again, you can use any blocks to lift the earth a bit higher towards you. Both feet are grounded. And then inhale, stretch your arm up and overhead. And exhale for a full body stretch. Reach into your fingertips. Ground into your foot. And just gently squeeze your buttock to protect your lower back here. Take another in breath. Feel your hip opening here. Very nice. And then out breath. Slowly release. Come all the way back to center. And now let's repeat this sequence on the other side. So maybe noticing how the left side feels compared to the right. And then we're going to step the right foot forward. Knee is over your ankle. And feet are hip width apart. Hands onto the hips. Tuck your tailbone under here. Not engaging the core, but just making sure you have a nice neutral back. Inhale to lift out. And exhale to sink more into the hips. And visualize this as a linear movement. So you're not turning the body as you move, you're lifting. And then the belly and that right knee move forwards. 3 more, feet are pressing down, inhale, exhale. 2 more, visualize a crown, the crown of your head reaching up, string attached to the head, so you're staying nice and lifted. Very nice. Once more, inhale. And then as you sink forward, especially here, when you go forward, ground through the back shin, so pressing the left shin, left foot down. And then for your low lunge Anjaneyasana, open up your front body. Draw the thumbs back. Sink into your hips as much as feels good. Enjoy this stretch. Again, remember, on the out breath, relax a little bit into the sensation. Once more, inhale. Very, very nice. And then from here, take your block or your cushions, again, underneath your hands. You can do that on the mat. For me at the moment, again, it just feels nice to lift, but you might not have too big of a bump yet. So you can have your hands on the earth, of course, and then extend that right leg. Hips stay centered, toes are flexing in toward you. Make sure you stay really relaxed in your jaw, in your neck area. And think of drawing the head forward, hips back. I'm sure your body will thank for it. And by the way, sometimes when we stretch, we feel a bit of heat coming up in the body, even in a traditional yoga class. But if you feel you're getting too hot, then just take a break or take it a bit easier. And now point your toes away. Hips stay centered. They might rock side to side a little bit here. Feeling the stretch across the top of your foot. Keep your knees slightly bent. Very, very nice, beautiful work. And then flex your toes again. Now for this twist, bring your left hand down onto your block and start to turn your body slightly more to the right. If it's okay for you, inhale, reach the right arm out and up. Noticing the sensation, maybe changing, moving into the outer leg a little bit more. Inhale to lengthen. Very, very nice. And then slowly start to move out of your lunge again, coming back into tabletop. And then extend your right leg back. Find a bit of a rocking. And then for this variation of side plank, ground the outer edge and inner arch as well of your foot down. Lift your left toes so they're moving beyond the mat. Keep your left hand under the shoulder and then right arm is reaching up. Inhale. And exhale, draw your palm all the way up and overhead, feeling length from the right toes all the way into those fingertips. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And then exhale, release down. Once more for downward facing dog. If you're happy to do down dog, lift your hips back and up. Notice how the legs feel now. Bending one leg and then the other. And while you're moving your legs, start to walk your palms one after the other towards your feet. Coming all the way towards the back of your mat. Widen your feet, so again your belly, even if there is no bump visible just yet, visualize it and soften the bump between your legs. Relax your arms. Relax the head down. And then gently sway the hips side to side. Very small movement. Notice if the weight can be transferred into the center of your feet. So rather than having it all the way in the heels or toes. And then make a bit of a circle with the head here. Relaxing the neck. Go the other way around. Maybe closing down the eyes. Beautiful work. And then bend your knees generously. Take your hands onto your shins. And then nice and slowly as you walk your palms up, start to round your back. And vertebra, vertebra by vertebra, come all the way up to standing mountain pose. And because it's the first time you're coming up, especially if you're feeling a bit more dizzy, just make sure you take a moment here. That you breathe, that you feel the soles of your feet connecting to the earth. Very nice. And now we're gonna stand anywhere on the mat. You can stay where you are. Just make sure that you can see me well enough. Feet are about hip width apart, arms are relaxed. And then for a few calf raises, start to lift onto your toes, onto the balls of your feet, and lift your heels. And you can do that holding onto the wall as well, or holding onto furniture. If you want to practice balance, maybe you're staying as you are. Very, very nice. Once more, inhale. And exhale to release. Now from here, stay where you are with your right foot and step the left foot over it. Release your left hand down your leg and take the right arm all the way up and overhead. And really visualize this side body opening. The stretch is coming from the fingertips, reaching the toes. If you want to take it a little bit further, you can take your opposite hand and just help that stretch to reach the side body a bit more. And then inhale back to center and exhale to release. And then simply swing that left foot behind, right foot forward. And then for the other side, releasing your right hand down and left arm up and overhead. And staying here with your knees gently bent, or again, you can help that stretch to deepen. Inhale. Very, very nice. And then exhale, release, and come all the way back. Feet are now coming into a neutral position. Just give your legs a little bit of a shake here. A bit of a release. And then our last standing posture for today is a wide-legged fold. If you're not feeling comfortable folding, the same idea here, you can just stay upright. And I would really suggest you take something in front of you so you can rest your hands down. Walk your feet as far apart as it feels good. Have the inner arches of your feet parallel. And then as you inhale, reach your arms out and all the way up towards the ceiling. Palms are touching, and exhale, hands through heart center. And we do that 2 more times. And while you're moving with your arms, keep your legs really strong so they're firmly pressing down. Arms are soft. Inhale, exhale. Very nice. And just once more, breathe in to open. And breathe out. Hands to the heart, and then start to forward fold. Maybe placing the hands onto a block or pillow or straight to the earth. You can also come onto your forearms, see how that works for you. And then really try to find a good and comfortable stretch for your inner legs. You might notice you can widen your legs a bit more as you're folding now. The weight is again in the middle of your feet, so shift it. Transfer it forwards and back and notice where that central point is for you. And really send energy into your hips. So visualize your sits bones reaching up towards the ceiling. Find a very gentle rocking, gentle sway side to side. Beautiful work. And then walk your hands slightly more in towards you so you can lift your body, and then start to heel toe your feet in. It's a bit more than hip width apart, and for goddess pose, keep your heels in, your toes out, and then take your hands onto the thighs and realign your spine with your head over your heart over your belly. And with this hip opener here, you want to make sure that you can see at least 2 of your toes when you look past your knees. So making sure the knees are not dropping in. And then find a bit of a sway. Gently engage your glutes as well. And then come to stay here, hands onto the knees. And then drop your right shoulder in, look past the left shoulder. Inhale back. Exhale, left shoulder in, twist slightly towards the right side. And do that once more for each side. Inhale and exhale. Very, very nice. And then ever so slowly start to lift out of your squat and then move your feet in together. And now it's already time to come back onto our mats. So move any bolsters, any props away. Rest the soles of your feet in front, fingertips are pointing forward, and then drop the knees to one side, look past the other shoulder. Find a bit of that windshield wiper through the legs. And usually the body is kind of moving, so maybe take the hands closer in toward you again. Very, very nice. And then slowly come back to center. Sit down onto your hips. Extend your legs forward for a moment. Give them a nice release, a nice shake here. And to seal off our practice today, we're going to sit in hero's pose. And again, depending on your bump, you might sit straight down onto the mat or onto a cushion. Bring your heels toward you. Have your knees parallel to one another. And then allow your palms to settle down onto the legs, or maybe making connection to your baby. So holding hands on the belly. And then just allow your eyes to close for a moment. Allow yourself to let go of this practice. A moment to find stillness. And a moment to simply be. Maybe there's something you want to tell your baby or babies. Maybe something you want to tell yourself. And remember that our words are reflecting on how our bodies feel and how we're moving throughout our days. So take one more moment here, spending it in gratitude or a positive thought. Bowing head to the heart. And then fully bowing in gratitude toward yourself and this miracle happening within you. Thank you so much for practicing. From my heart and my bump to yours. Namaste.